Hi, I'll be going over the umpire steps for string of missing elements. So for understand, so for our input, we're given a sorted array of numbers. So sorted array of numbers and a max value variable. And for our output, we're given, we want to return the string of the gaps of numbers in the array. So if we're given, so for example, if we're given 0, 1, 2, 9, then our output should be 3, 8, and 10. That should be a string. If we're given, and then I forgot to put the max value, and our max value would be 10 here. Then if we're given 0, 5, 8, 9, and our max value is 20, our output should be 1 through 4, 6, 7, and 11 to 20. So for matching, I don't think I've seen this problem before, but I have seen similar problems where you have a list of numbers and you have to find what's missing. So list of numbers, finding what's missing, and then also we have our return value string. So updating and adding, to a string. Updating and adding to a string. So my plan, so I would use a loop from 0 to max value. If iterator is not in R, then use a second loop that keeps going until a value is in R. Then add that gap of numbers to return to the string. And then at the end of the loop, remove commas and white space from the right. Yeah. So we just want to use a loop that goes from 0 to max value. Then we have an if condition that checks if that iterator is not in R. Then if it's not in R, use a second loop that keeps going until a value is in R. Then we just want to add that gap of numbers to the string. Then at the end of the loop, we just want to remove the commas and white space from the right to match the formatting. So for the implementation, so I want to use a while loop, so I'll use I equals 0, and then so while I is less than or equal to max value, if I is not in R, if I isn't an R, then I want to create this missing first variable, which is what's going to be added to the string. So missing first equals I, and then j equals I. So this is going to be our second loop. And then so while j less than or equal to max value, and j is not in R, so it keeps going while we're finding numbers that aren't in the list. We just want to update the value of j. Then, of course, this can keep going until it's like greater than max value. So let's say like in here we're at 10, it'll keep going until it's 11. So we have to get the one before, right? Or if it's not in R, right, then it would keep going until like, so this one's 3 to 8, it would be at 9. Our next would be at 9, so we want the one before because we want this gap, right? 3 to 8. So we just I will just create a new variable, like our second missing gap, equals j minus 1. Then if missing second, so we have this condition where we're just making sure that they're different numbers, because if they're different, we want the gap. But if it's equaling the same, if they're the same number, then we don't want like 10 and 10. We just want the single number by itself, right? So if missing second doesn't equal missing first, then we just want to add it to our string. So this case is return value. So this equals str missing first, and then we have our gap, or our dash, right? Plus str not sure why it's doing that, but missing second. And then just a space at the end. Let's see if I did it right. Yeah, so just a space. Otherwise, right? Otherwise, we just want to add. So otherwise, we just want to add same first. And so have I equal j in this case, right? So if all this happens, then I will just update all the way to j instead of incrementing. Otherwise, if this doesn't happen, we'll just update the value of I. And we just want to return our string. So let's see. Oh, let's see. 3, 4. Looks like I'm forgetting commas. Yeah, so this time I was able to get it. In terms of time, so for evaluate, I would say this is a pretty inefficient solution because it uses 2 for loops, so it would be n squared, and then it really depends on like our missing numbers too, like how many missing numbers and the length of our list. So with all that, it's pretty inefficient. It could take a really long time. And in terms of space, I'd also say this is O of n, because our return value is going to keep getting longer depending on the length of the missing numbers and like how long it really takes to iterate through the whole list. So thank you. That's my solution for final implementation of string of missing numbers.